Thanks, Invisipol. Invisipol, everybody. Everybody's favorite Paul. Nobody knows how he does that trick. That Invisipol trick. Got the hiccups again. So. It's a top shelf time to start a live stream. Right when you come down with the hiccups. But I'll take care of it. Didn't I start another Highdeology like a week ago? Just like this. Gabe and Son was talking about brain interfacing, says we'll probably have human testing within the next 5 years. Also spoken to Elon Musk. That's cool, man. Yeah, send me it. We'll check it out. If I don't die of hiccups. What I think about Assange, bro. I don't know, what do you think about Assange? Your Cali trip was amazing. Cheers, man. I'm jealous. I want to go to Cali. God damn it. What flavor? Oh yeah, that's right. Game of Thrones is tonight. Time to sign up for HBO Go. Or HBO Prime or whatever it's called. Time to sign up for HBO. Starts at 8 p.m. Oh, HBO Now. Man, these hiccups are really shutting down my whole fucking gig. One of my biggest fears, and it never happened to me, well, not even once, but one of my biggest fears was always getting the hiccups when I was on stage. And it never happened to me. I probably did over 100 stage shows in my time. Never once got the hiccups. I think I hesitate to say they're passing because that's usually when a hiccup comes. So let's just. I mean, everybody's got like a little natural remedy for hiccups, but the truth about hiccups is they go away when they've run their course. You know, like Ashley, for example, like I always scare her, or try to, if she's got the hiccups. Like I'll just like wait for like a minute and pretend I'm not paying any attention, and then just turn to her and go, blah! You know, like, and she'll, ah! And then hiccups go away. That doesn't really work with me because I don't startle that easily. But I don't know. There's really no, like I've had success doing all kinds of different weird little home remedies for the hiccups. Like there are people that say you take a paper towel and you put it over like a glass of water and you drink the water through the paper towel, and there's something about that does it. And I've actually done that and had it stop my fucking hiccups before. Sometimes holding my breath will do it. Sometimes just like really concentrating on the hiccup response seems like it helps. I don't know. Yeah, the human body is a strange thing. Bodies in general are pretty weird. Hiccups. In your young lad days, do you ever have trouble finding the vaginal opening and just feel like a dope sitting? Nope. No, didn't really happen, Adam. Would you recommend meth as a cure for hiccups? No. I wouldn't. I sometimes punch my stomach just as I'm about to hiccup. It hurts, but it works. Seems like a violent way to get over the hiccups, though, for me personally. I'd rather not have to be that violent against myself. I don't want to punch myself. I don't like being punched. Sometimes sitting upside down can help with the hiccups. Sitting upside down? How? Where do I do that? How do you sit upside down? Usually try and swallow the hiccup itself, and somehow it usually ends in a small burp and they're gone. What the fuck? I don't know. Trust me. I mean, if you guys know any hiccup experts, I'd love to interview one on this show, because I don't have them all the time, but, you know, they've always bothered me. And I want to know what's going on. I want to know what's happening. First time catching a live Highdeology. Oh, cool. Oh, you're spooky, Wally. You're the person that drew that very anatomically accurate picture of me and Ashley. You've done all the couples now, haven't you? Yeah, that man's a dude. Hold up, wait a minute. It's Spooky Lolly, dude. I gotta give him a mod. You don't have to do anything with it, Spooky Lolly, but that's just so I can see when you talk. I mean, if you've contributed that much art, you're gonna be you're good fucking Spectre material. It's a miracle. If a miracle happened and Ashley told you she was pregnant, where do you run off to? I don't know. Ireland or something, maybe. You have come to the mod initiation now. Yes, yes, you're one of the elite. Hiccups are air pockets caught in your esophagus due to bad posture. That sounds like bullshit. That doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like air pockets. That doesn't mean anything. No, I ain't no air pockets. Did you really finger your cousin? Yeah. Just like a third cousin, but yeah, I did. Cream pies. Yeah, I like Boston cream pies, banana cream pies. I like a lemon cream pie. That's real good. What about you? It's a throat queef? Oh. Oh. Well, now I understand. Now I understand. What we got here? Documentary? Yeah. Would you ever eat queef cookies? What's a queef cookie? What is that? Is that a cookie that somebody has quiffed upon? I don't get it. All these filters make you whiter. I just like the black and white thing. I think I look better in black and white, dude. Pessimistic poop balls. Okay. You ever completely forgotten your lines on stage? Were you able to improvise or just totally embarrass yourself? Yeah. It hasn't happened a bunch of times, but there are 2 times I can remember. Well, there's really only one time where I dropped that bad. There was another time on stage where I had the other person on stage with me. It happened to them, and I had to vamp my way through them forgetting about half their fucking lines and get them back on track. But, I mean, it happens. It's one of those things that's gonna happen, and you can be afraid of it all you want, but it's still gonna happen. The human mind sometimes just draws a blank. It just happens. And it doesn't matter how much you practice something. It doesn't matter how much you, like, try to stave off any, like, memory blanks. Eventually it's gonna happen. Oh my God, dude, this chat. We're not doing do you like the Ramones. We're not doing would you eat food with shart in it. No, I wouldn't, by the way. Or squart. What is this? Is this what you want to talk about today, guys? You want to talk about poop and pee-pee? Is that what it's about? It's about poop. Okay. I mean, whatever. It's up to you guys, you know. I usually leave these up to you guys in terms of topics. So, you know, if we're going to talk about poo-poo and pee-pee, then we, fucking, let's get on with it. Elaborate on the concept of Robocommunism. What did you picture when you wrote that title? I didn't really picture anything, actually. It's a joke, I guess, or there's another little Discord server that's made up of some fans of the show. It's like a little side server or whatever that I'm on. And they named me Robo-Communist because they think that my economic policy aligned with my kind of futurism and AI advocacy. That kind of makes me that. I think it makes sense. I'm fine with Robo-Communism. Biggest factor that led to the Beatles' breakup? Probably just boredom. I mean, look, a band is like a show. And a show is a collaborative thing, and eventually it runs its course. This is true of TV shows, any kind of show. Broadway shows that are wildly popular, eventually they just are done, and the cast dissolves and goes on to do their own thing. So, yeah, I mean, I would say that, like, yeah, the Beatles probably were just kind of bored with having to deal with each other and having to do the same songs over and over again, and they just wanted to go on and do other things. People put all the blame on Yoko. I mean, that's just stupid. Like, there were 4 dudes in the Beatles, and you're telling me that, like, one person overrode all their agency? It's just silly. I mean, but yeah, entropy does apply to that, for sure. Even in collaborative environments. If you owned a restaurant, what kind of food would you serve? I don't know. I've never really wanted to own a restaurant. Well, that's not true. But I don't really care about the food. I have restaurant ideas that don't really take into account the food. Although I guess the food would have to be pretty good too. I like I've got this idea for a themed restaurant. And if you've ever been to like medieval times, you know what I'm talking about, right? So medieval times, this big restaurant where it's like all the seating is placed all the way around this arena, and they have this big stage show in the middle with knights that fight each other, and there's like a king, and he proclaims this and that, and each section is a different knight and stuff. So there's like the green knight, the red knight, the blue knight, the yellow knight, or whatever the hell, and there's all these different sections. I want to do one like that, but I want to do like a pirate-themed one where you build this giant aquatic arena. You have actual pirate ships in there to do naval battles and shit. You can, like, if you want to pay extra, you can, like, sit on the deck of the pirate ships as they have fights and stuff. You can be in the captain's quarters or at the helm or whatever for, like, kids' birthday parties and shit. And I just want it to be, like, an insane, like, practical effect spectacle with a bunch of food. I mean, yeah, that's the problem with those types of ideas. Like, I can guarantee, and you can call me full of shit if you want. If somebody gave me the money to carry out this vision for this restaurant, it would make them millions of dollars. Like if I put it in Orlando or something, made some big destination restaurant that was all based around pirate ship things, and they gave me the, $200 or $300 million it would take to build the place, they would make that back and then some. It would be huge. But will it fit today's progressive standards? Hell no, it's a pirate show. Women will be getting abducted out of the audience and taken prisoner. Kids can be forced to walk the plank and stuff. Just a whole show, man. A whole crazy pirate fucking spectacle. I honestly thought the Medieval Times was only in Toronto. No, the original one was in LA. And that's the one I've been to. Yeah, dude. Or we can just hire amputees. You know what I mean? Like, make it a point that we're inclusive and that we hire amputees so that we can have people with actual peg legs and stuff and hooks. Do you like anyone who is an SJW? Is ContraPoints an SJW? I'll wait for somebody to answer that, because I don't know. I don't really do much with the label, so I don't really know who qualifies or whatever in this day and age. It's a bunch of yeses, a bunch of nos, but I really like ContraPoints a lot. Don't always or even all that often find myself totally agreeing with her, but I think she makes really cool videos. She's clearly smart. I think she's on the right track with a lot of the things that she talks about, and her production values are something to be commended. That especially sticks out with me with ContraPoints' videos. She just has a great aesthetic and knows how to carry it out. I categorize someone as an SJW not because of what they believe, but because of what they do, deplatform, censor, etc. You can be a loony leftist and still respect basic decorum and freedom. I mean, I'm one of those. I'm about as a loony a leftist as you'll find, but I'm not trying to slap duct tape over anybody's mouth. I would rather people get to say whatever the fuck they want. Open marketplace of ideas, man. I wouldn't consider her an SJW. She's pretty open-minded. Okay, I'll see. That's just one of those things. You better go take shelter then. Halfway through Dune, thanks for the introduction. Yeah, no problem, man. Glad you're enjoying it. I'm hard to tell. Say I'm far left, but progressive fits too, I think. Yeah, who cares? Do yourself a favor. Don't spend a whole lot of time trying to figure out what exact combinations of labels perfectly, like, encapsulates you and your philosophy as a person. I stopped doing that a long time ago, and I've only been better for it because it shuts down stupid surface level conversations and invites people to ask me actual questions about what my positions on things are. So if I were you, and this goes for anybody out there, just don't worry about the labels. There's really no point. Can't stand people who use labels in place of personality or in place of arguments. Like, that you see that a lot. It's like people think that listing off all of their labels takes the place of an actual argument and defending a position, and it really doesn't. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like the whole SJW, anti-SJW thing that is cropping back up. I just don't like it. I just don't do it anymore. I don't engage in it. It's all finger pointing. It's all pejoratives, and can we absorb this pejorative and turn it back around and make it like, our own? Yeah, let's just call ourselves SJWs. That'll show them. And becomes a badge of honor. It's just stupid. There's no argument there. And I've got a feeling that a lot of the people that people label SJWs would have profoundly different ideas if you asked them direct questions about their policy. Might not line up with the chat stock. You ever wanted to write a story? I think you could touch on a lot of interesting perspectives in a novel format. Yeah, I'm slowly but surely working on a kind of autobiographical novel right now. I don't know if I'll ever finish it, but it's, I'm not a professional writer, so it's something I work on in my spare time, and it comes in bursts of creativity, and then, a period of time where I just won't write anything on it. Paul, give me the Zuck. Okay. Here you go, buddy. That is the Zuck, right? When you ban somebody. Awesome. If you ever need art for it, hit me up. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Jabo's got a wrench now, as he should have, from the very get-go. Yeah, I had to wrench you up, man. I had to throw that wrench at you. It doesn't. All it means is that it's easier for me to see you, but it technically means that you're a mod. Yeah, yeah. You don't have to do nothing. I don't expect you to do anything about it. It just makes it easy, you know. Some of these people, I will put them to work. Some of these wrenches you see in here, I'll get on them if somebody needs banning and they're just hanging out. But you don't got to worry about that, Jabo. It's a you know, it's an honorary title. Yeah, I watched while I was doing some research for tomorrow's show last night. I watched some of the LCS. Well, yesterday afternoon, I guess. I think it was the LCS, the finals. Yeah, I think it was NALCS, right? Anyway, whatever. Yeah, we watched. Jabba was watching it on a stream. I was just kind of chilling. Oh shit, man. I will gladly do your dirty work. I just hope to get a wrench. Well, I tell you, asking for a wrench is one way to make sure you never get one. Anybody who's desirous of the power of the wrench they can't have it. You have to be pure of heart and soul to get a wrench. Learn to spell first. Yeah, you tell him, Asbestos Fingers. You tell him. Oh yeah, look at all these people now. Do you think I'm 12? Do you think reverse psychology works on me, dude? Do you think I'm like 8? You're wrong, dude. You're wrong, y'all. Reverse psychology, dude. A wrench would make me feel worthless. Damn. I almost want to wrench you just for that. See, that reverse psychology almost worked on me. Almost, but not quite. I do not resent having my wrench taken away. Paul, what if your mods turn on you and kill you? If that's the way I go out, then that's the way I go out, man. That's the thing. Like, did I talk about this on the last show? I don't really care. You know, there's this, like, I have this very, like, if my fate is to get drilled at a meetup or get shot by some crazy fan, whatever. I'm fine to go out that way. I'm sure in the moment, right before I get my head blown off, I'll be scared, but most pathetic way to die. Getting beat to death by the giant penis of your wife's new lover as you sit in the corner watching, probably. Like getting cucked and then beaten to death by the penis that cucked you is probably the most pathetic. I can't think of a more pathetic way to go than that. Right? Cuckicide, yeah. I mean, that's got to be bad. Yeah. I can't imagine that'd be a good thing. Dying on the toilet's a pathetic way to die. I mean, yeah, it's not the best, but everybody poops. You know? So, I mean, it can't be that bad. What's the laziest way to die? Like, not getting up off the couch when your house is on fire because you just think that somebody's going to save you before it burns you and then burning to death while you wait for somebody. probably, is what I would say. I mean, I don't know, is there a lazier way? Not wanting to spend the time to breathe, maybe? Like being so lazy that like even taking a breath is like, I don't even want to do the effort. That'd be a pretty lazy way to die. Becoming fused to your chair after becoming 700 pounds. Yeah, that's pretty bad. We covered a dude like that on Deep Fat Fried in the early days, I think, in the first year. Just some dude that just got like literally melded to his lazy boy. Like there was the dude said that he couldn't tell where the chair began and where he ended. He'd been sitting there for so goddamn long. He like became one with the chair. And I think they killed him trying to get him out of it. Like I think he died after they removed him from it. Jesus. Man, I'm fat, but I can't even imagine being that big. Ever. Oh, he was already dead? Okay. Hey, Paul, I'm on the bus right now. Glad you're streaming because you're fun to watch. Hey, thanks, bro. His name was Tillman Webb. That's a fat guy's name. Oh, yeah, that is a fat guy's name. You ain't kidding. Yeah. He literally became part chair. Fuck. But you know what, dude? We think about it and we go like, oh, lazy or how could you? But think about what that dude's life was like, man. His whole life was in that chair. He never got up from that chair. He slept in the chair. He ate in the chair. He shat in the chair. He pissed in the chair. He was just one with the chair. Someone threatened to put a hit out on me for influencing their girlfriend to stand up to him. Damn, look at you. Yeah. Good old hits. I love the internet, dude. Everybody's like a Sicilian gangster on the internet. They got a dude that can call the hit to put a hit on you. I love it. The only way to be a fully actualized human being is to become one with the chair, yeah. I have 300 confirmed kills. Good for you. Called a contract on the people that called a contract on me. Yeah, and then I called a contract on both of you. I call a contract on people who call contracts. I'm a contract killer. How do you like that? I get a hold of contract killers and I say, hey, got any contracts right now? They're like, yeah. How much are they paying you? $1 million? I'll pay you $2 million to go kill the guy that opened up the contract. Oh, okay. Guess I got a new contract, don't I? Yeah, you do. That's how I do it, man. Contract killer. Subcontractor. Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't that mean you'd call a contract on yourself? Whoa. Whoa, dude. I love how people who say you can hire a hitman on the deep web don't realize that 99% of those sites are scams or honeypots. I mean, whatever. People are stupid. Most of the people that say the term deep web have never been on it, including me. I never fucked around there. I ain't trying to go to no deep web. Dude, the shallow web is enough for me. The shallow web is filled with horrors unimaginable. Why the fuck would I want to go to the deep web? There's plenty of horrible, depressing, stupid bullshit on the shallow web. The light net has plenty. I don't need to go to the dark net. This recliner isn't even my final form. Dude. Yeah, dude. That's what I want to do. I want to be, because the fat dude has already grown into his chair. I want to grow into a couch. I want to be like, just lay my big ass down on a couch and have Ashley feed me until I can't move anymore. And then I become one with the sectional, yeah. It'll even get to the point where she can like pull the sectional apart and my body parts will go with it, but I'll remain alive, dude. That's a new form of life right there. The couch man. Would you allow people to sit on you? Hell yeah. If I'm a couch, there's no point to exist unless people are sitting on me. Come on down. Pull up a roll. Pull up a roll, you dirty troll. The dark web could be an interesting episode for DFF. I don't really think so. Nah, I don't really think so. It would be one of those episodes where all the dudes that have been to the dark web would talk about how cringy and filled with misconceptions it was, and everyone who hadn't been to the dark web would be bored. That's how I see that going down. Hey, Paul, could you do a deep fat fried on Ninja? Get out of here. Get out of here, you. Dislike squad, where y'all at? In the fucking trash can, bro. Where you at? Nuked. Dude, he got triple nuked. See, this is why I love this, man. That's why I love having a full squad of Spectres. All three of them nuked that dude. Plus me. Did you ban that guy? Hell yeah, I banned that guy. 100%. How can one farm Bitcoin? I need money. I think the internet might be able to help you with that. I don't know if this is the place to come to get that kind of advice. You unbanned him so that you could ban him? Sweet. I love it. Hello from Philly. Hello from Louisiana. Do you think Tor is really private? I mean, I don't think anything is actually private. I don't believe that there is really any sense of actual privacy left in the first world. That includes the internet. I might be wrong about that. You might be able to, you know, do things with a certain amount of reasonable anonymity, but it's out of reach for 99% of us. Will there be more dank dungeons? Yes. Yeah, we had session 0 on Thursday last week. Session 0 is when you kind of get together. It's kind of a character workshop where everybody finishes rolling up their characters, and then you make some decisions as a group. You play through a challenge dungeon. We did all that shit. And this next party is going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, more dank D&D on the way. It might be a few weeks till you see anything of it, but just stay tuned. We're building a new home for it too, a new dungeon for dank D&D to live in. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. UDM, yeah. You should look into the wreck of the Batavia. Okay, the Batavia, dude. Do you think the internet should be made a public utility? Yes. I think the internet should be made a public utility, should be maintained by the government, and have the protections of the Bill of Rights extended to it. Immediately. Today. Yesterday. Now. Yes. Should be free, absolutely. But to be honest with you, so should water and electricity. But where did you learn to do all your lovely impressions? Self-taught, or did you take a few theater classes? I was in theater for a long time. I started doing theater in the 7th grade, and I did it all the way through college age. A lot of community theater, a lot of high school level theater, college level theater. So I don't really know that I picked up a ton of accents doing it, but that's probably where I got the proclivity to do it. None of my accents are great. Most of my accents are pretty surface level impersonations. I've been complimented a few times on a few aspects of my accent work, but most of them are just kind of caricatures. The internet doesn't need filters like water, so it makes sense that the internet should be free. Okay. How do you feel about transhumanism? We talk about it a lot here. I am a transhumanist. So, I don't know that I want to go down the road. Dude, poor Pepita Chips, dude. Been trying to troll all day and nobody's having it. Nobody's having it, dude. How do you think, how do you think spamming shit is a good idea in here anymore? I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Did you ever continue the misadventures of a skooma addict? I don't know. Probably not. How do you feel about breathing oxygen? I love it, Canadian Fuhrer. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about the Discord? Too many weebs and lollies. It's fine when it's a woman, but a little pathetic when it's a 17 to 40-year-old man. I mean, I go into the Discord all the time and berate the people in general chat and stoke the tism and then leave. I mean, it's really all it's good for me in that way. And it's kind of unfortunate because every once in a blue moon I'll go over there and the chat will be kind of fun and we'll have a good chat conversation or whatever. But 9 times out of 10, it's just people shit posting and attention seeking and just like endless anime memes and the same 3 topics, you know, either race relations with heavy use of the word nigger, lolicon or shotacon, or anime in general. That's really what gets talked about over there. And so I step in there every once in a while and I go, hey, you all suck. You're stupid. And I get them all like, blah, 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 and then I leave. What happened? The other mods are fighting each other now, dude. There's a mod battle going on. That's dope. Calm down, Grandpa. Okay. He lived just long enough for me to read it. What do you think about Ted Kaczynski's thesis, Industrial Society and Its Future? Do you think transhumanism is even feasible at this point with how eager to destroy each other our world leaders are? I mean, I read probably not even his entire manifesto, but it's been a long time. So I'd probably have to go back and read it again to refamiliarize myself enough with it to talk much about it. Can you give me the talk? What? Oh, that talk? You got a parent to do that for you? No, I'm not going to give you the talk. It's kind of funny when you're in there, people will sometimes try to ask you serious questions, but you're saying shit like poo-poo versus pee-pee. Yeah, dude. Well, yeah, of course, because I'm not really... Dude, Discord is not a place for serious conversation. It just isn't. So, you know, I go in there, I let my tism flow, just like everybody else does. I poo-poo the pee-pee, I doo-doo the caca, and then I get bored of it and I go on, you know. If someone consents before they die, should necrophilia be legal? Yes. 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 Yeah, I don't see a problem with it. I mean, why? Who's hurt in that situation? Nobody. Do you keep contact with high school buddies? Yes, a couple of them. Very limited contact, though, unfortunately. We have all kind of spread to the 4 corners of the earth. I almost said 3 corners of the earth. The earth lost a corner. We've spread all over the globe, so it's kind of hard to keep in touch, but we still talk every once in a while. So many things you talk about on DFF when you all get to talking about our future as a society is echoed by the same sentiments shared in Industrial Society and Its Future, so I figured it'd be him. I mean, I'll read it. Papa Paulo. Raise these kids right. Yeah, dude. Are you excited for the new Star Wars that's coming out? No. And don't ask me if I'm excited for anything else. Don't take that as an opening to be like, are you excited for, and then list off every movie that you know is coming out in 2019 and 2020. The answer is no to all of them. I'm preemptively answering no to all of them. I don't look forward to movies or video games anymore. I am excited for Dune. Okay, I am excited for Dune, but that's it. That's the only one. What do you think is going to happen in Avengers Endgame? I've got a feeling that a lot of people are going to be disappointed. That's what I think is going to happen. How that disappointment is going to come about, I don't know. But I have a feeling Avengers Endgame is not going to hold up to the quality level that people are expecting after Infinity War. And that's going to be that. It's going to be a controversial end to the first Marvel arc. Are you excited about the new Star Wars land at Disney World? I'm not, because I don't ever want to go to Disney World ever again in my entire life. But I'm sure other people will have a lot of fun at it. Disney World is not my type of place anymore. I will go to Disneyland a million times before I go to Disney World. Disney World is an insane dystopian nightmare. Very crowded and expensive, yes. And those are two of the least of the problems, but yes, I agree. Disney World is insanely overcrowded, overpacked, not designed for the amount of people that they're running through it. I don't know, just the line system is overwrought and stupid now. Everything is uber expensive there, so like you're basically forced at gunpoint to eat a $30 hamburger, because where else you gonna go, kid? Because getting out of the park takes like an hour and a half. I want you to think about that. I want you to actually think about this. Getting out of that park takes like an hour, maybe even like an hour and a half, depending on what time you're leaving. If you're leaving, like we made the mistake of staying until when they actually closed down the park one time. And in order to get to the actual Disney Magic Kingdom park, you got to take this boat. It's like a ferry across a giant lake. And the line to get, we had to wait for 2 ferries to come and go to get off the thing. It was like an hour and a half to get out of the park, to get to our car. From the time they told us the park is closing, please leave, to when we got to our car to leave, it was an hour and a half later. So no, yeah, I'm not, Disney World ain't my thing, man. It's not my bag. It's not my cup of tea. Do you like water parks? I do. I haven't been to one in a long time, but I do like water slides and stuff like that, swimming and wave pools and all that shit. I had a really bad experience at a wave pool, though, when I was a kid. There's this water park near where I grew up called Clovis Lakes. I think it's now called Wild Water Adventures, or maybe it's closed. I don't know. I think they changed it. But when I was a kid, it was called Clovis Lakes. And it had a bunch of water slides, really cool ones, and it had a wave pool. And I was chilling in the wave pool one day, you know, just kind of sitting on the edge, letting the water beat up against my feet. And I felt something hit my foot, and I thought it was like somebody's, I don't know what I thought. I thought it was a hat or something, and I reached out and grabbed it, and it was just like a disgusting, filthy, water-soaked diaper that some kid had just like shat in and then kicked off in the wave pool, and it had washed up onto my feet. So that was the last time I ever went in a wave pool. I was probably about 12 when that happened, and I have not been in a wave pool since. Thought you were gonna say it was a turd. It was a turd wrapped in a diaper. So it was basically a turd. Yeah. I don't go in wave pools no more. I have to be able to see what's going on in the pool so I can at least be sure that there's not a full-blown turd or a diaper floating around. Other people ruin stuff, yeah. Yeah, they do. Yeah, you ain't kidding. But I mean, that's one of the tough things about having to live together, you know, in these big conglomerations of people. Is that to a certain extent, you've got to put up with other people's shit. Now, I don't know about you, but I try when I go out somewhere to be the dude that doesn't give anybody any shit to put up with. I go out and I try to be respectful of the fact that other people are there. I'm not, you know, overly loud. I'm not screaming. I don't make a scene. I don't bring like 3 screaming brats into places. I don't take kids to the movies. You know what I mean? I do my part to try and make sure that me going out into public doesn't inconvenience anybody else. And I'm hoping to have that returned to me, but it, you know, it very seldom is. I try to treat people as if it's myself living in another life. I don't know if I go that far. I try to disregard people politely. Does that make sense? I try and pretend that I don't see people. And I assume they're going to do the same to me. I try and pretend that I'm in a little bubble where nobody else can see me, and I don't want anybody to see me, so I don't draw any attention. Thinks he means treat others how you wish to be treated. I mean, that makes sense. Maybe. Kinda, sometimes. Doesn't your girlfriend wear diapers? No. I do that as well, and it usually works. Cool. Oh my God, I thought I was the only one. No. You're not the only one. Do you have a favorite race in D&D? I like the gnomes, man. I want to be a gnome. I love a good gnome. Have you ever taken the Amtrak? I have taken the Amtrak. I took the Amtrak to LA once from my little town. But I've never taken it longer than that. Do you sometimes think about how crazy it is that people are watching you live from all over the world? I'm from Germany. Yeah, that does hit me sometimes. There are sometimes where there's this like incredible diversity of people from all over the place. I used to, well, let's do it now. It's an old thing from way back in the Periscope days. What's your 20? Where's everybody at? Give me your spot. I'm in New Orleans, Louisiana, or the area. Where are you at? Got Texans, got Australians, we got Georgia, Japan, Charleston, Kansas City, Finland, Wisconsin, Alberta, more Wisconsin. Hey, we got 2 Wisconsinites. Sacramento, California, India, Mississippi, New Mexico, Tennessee. Look at this. Cancun, Kekistan. Dude, there's a Kekistani here. There's a Fresnan here. Look at that. North Dakota, Scotland. Look at this. All over the United States, all over the world. See? The Highdeology army, man. It's that Highdeology army. Pretty much every state. Every state in the union, somebody's watching. Huh? Huh? Every country worth mentioning, somebody's watching. I like that there's a couple of Mexicans in here. How my Mexicans doing? I miss Mexicans, man. There's not a lot of Mexicans around where I'm at anymore. Start your cult, Paul, and they will come. Yeah, come from every corner of the globe. The children of the salt. Colombian works too. I mean, you know, that Colombianos. I've known some Colombianos before. I've had some run-ins with you South American types. Let's make sure we don't get Waco'd. You do know that's how it ends, right? Un abrazo para Paul. Traigan la madera, traigan los tragos. Come, remember on Cinema Presentix when you said you were watching Food Fight and introduced Major Stubby Legs. No, not really. Mano con mano, hand to hand, corazón con corazón. I would pay money. Whoa, 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 whoa! I would pay money to see you play Alien Isolation again. Holy shit, that compilation of you freaking out is amazing. Oh man, I don't know if I can face that game again. Game was too much. Game was too scary. You know, I can't hang, man. I'm too into it. It's not fun. I mean, it is kind of fun, but it's not, like, ultimately I'm just exhausted at the end of it. I feel like I was actually running from the alien. It's horrible. Where? Oh, there's this, you can search for it. It's, if you search for Paul's Ego versus the Alien on YouTube, you'll find it. It's not even a compilation I made. It's old Twitch streams that I did where I was, you know, streaming Alien Isolation, and it was horrifying. I would not play it in VR. I won't even play it out of VR, dude. It's too scary. Coolman just linked it. It was so scary because of the game itself or because of the alien content. It's both. Like, for me, I was genuinely, when I was a kid, the alien was actually genuinely scary to me. It still is. This is the idea of a xenomorph. It's still, like, probably the thing I'd least like to run into in a dark alley. And then that game is just all about making you completely helpless while one of these horrifying things stalks you all over this derelict space station. You actually get scared of a video game? Hell yeah, I do. I get all into that shit. I can't, man. I'm the same way in movies. Like, if a movie is genuinely frightening or scary, I'll be all into it. I scream, you know? So, yeah, I just can't. It was fun, though. It was fun while it lasted. I've beaten the first Dead Space. And I'd play Dead Space again. That one is a scary one, though. But it didn't scare me as much as Alien did. But I did scream a lot playing Dead Space. I own Dead Space 1 and 2. I don't think I ever played 2. Still regularly laugh at the time you referred to us as your menagerie of Tizamites. Yeah, dude. You guys are. You're my internet zoo. Why do you think dinner scenes are so entertaining in films? Because they're so relatable. They're so relatable because, think about it, dude. The dinner table is often where drama happens. If you really think about it. If you grew up in a family that came together for dinner, even if it was once or twice a week, it wasn't every dinner. Not every dinner is ripe with controversy, but you know that there is that possibility that some shit is going to jump off at a dinner. There's a natural intrigue to people sharing a meal together because there's a familiarity to it, but there's also a competitive aspect to it. You know, you don't have to be friends to break bread with somebody. In fact, breaking bread with your enemy can be an incredibly tense thing. So there's all kinds of layers of intrigue to just sitting down and having a meal with somebody, you know? I will summon the succubus, Paul. Okay, summon it. I mean, there's not always underlying tension, but there can be. There very often is. And shit jumps off. People get real over food, you know? Food, it strips away all the bullshit for a minute because it's, it's a fundamental thing we all have to do. So it's a very base human thing. Paul, are you a good liar? No, I don't think I'm a good liar. Um, I'm pretty bad at it. I just have a real huge conscience, which is not a good thing to have if you want to be a good, successful liar. Like if I lie to somebody, I feel bad about it, and eventually I have to make it right. You know? I don't like that. This happens at dinner every time my family brings up my aunt, who my dad has labeled the Queen of England. Yeah. I mean, it's always drama. It's always where people get together to gossip about the day or where underlying tensions bubble to the surface. You know? Even a quiet dinner can be laced with intrigue. That's why you see it so much in films. It's something we all do. You know, it's one of the most relatable things you can watch people do. Hello. Paul, what's your favorite ironic meta comment? Asking you what your favorite ironic meta comment is. Oh my God, Canadian Fuhrer, please. Please, buddy. Also, having an alcoholic mother made things spiral at the dinner table because of the glass of wine at dinner. I mean, yeah, that plays a role too. That's why drinking is another thing that you'll see. Two people sitting down to share a bottle of wine is a very intriguing situation because in vino veritas. Yeah. People get real when they have a few drinks in them, you know? The mask comes off a little bit. The pretense drops. The social norms get fuzzy around the edges and people start talking. It's good for social anxiety, sure. It's a personality enhancer or whatever. Liquid courage, they call it sometimes. There was a tyrant, Sir Paul, who lorded over us all. Plebs who was seen letting slip the keen awoke with the black and blue balls. Nah, dude. I mean, good try. Good try, Mendacious. Good try. I can't fault you for it, but you know, it was a rookie fucking limerick for sure. You guys stay right there. I'll be right back, yeah? Come on down there. You can go inside now. You gonna leave all your chewies out here, bud? You gonna leave all your chewies? back out here? It's a pretty good chewy. Looks like a pretty decent chewy you got there. Sounds like you're having fun with that chewy. Hello, hello, hello. I return. Had to take a second. Started playing Eve again recently. Eve Online, and I'm moving some stuff to a new place. I'm just kind of autopiloting it. I'm risking it. I'm risking the autopilot because I don't want to sit and babysit 22 jumps and 42 jumps this way and blah, blah, blah. So I'm trying to consolidate a lot of my crap. Did you have a nice poop? Yeah, you live down in Stain. Yeah, I'm in high sec. I actually started doing mining. Like I had an alt. I have 2 accounts. One of them's my main account that has my main character on it. That's the one I'm moving in alpha clone status right now. But I got omega clone status on my my miner. So I've got like a retriever barge, and I'm doing some high sec Veldspar mining, and I'm thinking about using both accounts. One of them, you know, obviously to ship the stuff. I'm pretty close to having a like one of the big transport haulers. I can't remember what they're called. I think they might be called transports. Freighters, sorry. Could you stream that maybe? It wouldn't be very fun to stream. I mean, I might do it if I'm desktop streaming and just have it going in the background because it requires very little attention from me to do pretty safely. So I might just, like, when I desktop stream, just have, you know what I mean? Paul's ego is currently acting. He hiccups and finds it distracting. He's Valjean in Les Mis. He coughs through his fit, but everyone's staring and laughing. Fit and Ms do not rhyme. Unfortunate, but true. Well, I really like the way you've described Eve, but the game is so damn complex, it's hard to get into. Tips? The game is actually easier to get into now than it ever has. It's free with what's called an alpha clone, so you can just download it and start playing a game. You're restricted from some of the higher end ships, and some of the lower end stuff are restricted to certain levels, but you can start playing the game right away. There's a really involved tutorial with Eve now. And if you do the full thing, it gives you a taste of basically every type of thing you can do in Eve. It'll give you missions to do, it'll teach you how to do it, it'll give you little starter ships to try out all the crap. You'll get some skill books from it. So it's really like, Eve back when I started in 2007 was one of the hardest games to get into, I think, ever. The tutorial in it was nigh on pointless. It was just a really, really brutal game. Now it's they've polished it up a lot. They've polished it up a lot, and they've made it really a whole lot easier to get into and stuff. So, who's in the door behind you? It rustled when you were gone. Dun 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 dun. Nobody should be in that door. Nobody. The worst is yet to come, when Satan bangs his drum. The demons fly and gather nigh, the wicked and the dumb. All right. That's pretty good, squirrelitosis. I like it. It's okay. I like it. It's all right. Do you think making games easier and more accessible is what ruins them eventually? No, it depends on the game, right? I mean, there are some games where their complexity and inscrutability and depth is what really makes the game. So, like, I think it would ruin Dwarf Fortress, for example, to make it a left-click, right-click only needed to do kind of game. It's a very complex game. It's part of the joy of the game is learning all the weird little complexities. The same thing with Eve, right? Eve is a really frustrating, really hard game. But once you learn the basics of how to get around and how to do this and how to do that, it can become a really satisfying game. But there are other games too where, like Street Fighter, for example, there's always been this like tug of war between hardcore fighting game aficionados who want like the super complex, super precise move sets with super precise timing windows for combos and stuff. And then there's people that just want to pick up the game and play it and have fun. And, you know, different releases of different fighting game franchises are always trying to walk that line. Provide enough complexity to keep the veterans and hardcore aficionados happy, but simplify, streamline, and make accessible the game to your average person. So, I don't know. Do you think Disney will ever be the target of monopoly or trust laws? I mean, I don't even know if we do that anymore. Do we even bother antitrust legislation or antitrust judicial action anymore? Like, I know that there have been some in relatively recent memory. I believe when Comcast merged with Time Warner or whatever the fuck, there was a big antitrust case. But I mean, like, when are you going to do it? So they own like 34% flat of all media now. At what point do you go like, this is one company having way too many fucking subsidiary companies and having way too large of a narrative reach over way too much of the entertainment industry? Like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, 35% isn't 100%, but you don't have to be at 100% to be considered into like a trust situation. I'm at Pizza Hut, Paul. What should I get? You should get your ass out of there and go to another pizza joint because Pizza Hut is fucking disgusting. Hope that helps. Yeah, go find a Papa John's or like a Round Table. Part of what's going to make the next economic collapse so horrible is the fact that we need new ideas to get us out of that slump, but we've held the youth back financially. Dude, I don't even know, dude. I feel like I do nothing but doom and gloom here, so let's steer away from the fucking the world is collapsing topics for a little while tonight. Let's give people a little breather from that, because it's just like a constant. I mean, I understand, like, a lot of you come here because you might feel similarly or you might want to hear me talk about it, but every once in a blue moon, you gotta fucking step back, you know. Even me. I prefer Pizza Hut over the other trash pizza chain. Man, I don't know, man. Pizza Hut used to be dank. There was a time, dude, where Pizza Hut was the business, but now it sucks. I like Papa John's. Papa John's pizza is, yeah, like somebody said, it's cheap. And it's typically pretty good. They give you some pepperoncinis and that garlic dipping sauce in there for the crust. That's always a bonus. Costco makes a decent, like, take and bake pizza too. Like, you can either get a slice there at Costco or you can get like a whole one and take it home and bake it yourself. They're pretty good. My favorite, like, takeout type of pizza was this place called, oh man, what's it called? Papa Murphy's. So it's a take and bake only place in the Central Valley. I don't know if it's outside of the Central Valley or not, but I've only really seen it. Well, no, that's not true. There was one in Washington, so it must be like a West Coast chain or something. But Papa Murphy's pizza is real good. You call down there, you just order it up, you get whatever toppings you want on it, and then you take it home and you bake it. And yeah. They're everywhere. Yeah. I really like those. Like that is probably my favorite type, because you can add shit to it. You control the bake, which is like one of the hardest things on a pizza. Like for me, I'm very particular about if the pizza is at all doughy or undercooked, like even slightly, I don't like it. If there's no char at all, if there's no like, good browning of the top, the cheese isn't bubbly and starting to turn dark brown and stuff, then I ain't having it. I like a well done pie, man. A well done pie. Do you like curry? Yeah, I like curry. I like Thai food. To be frank with you, I don't think I've ever tried a type of, you know, foreign food that I haven't enjoyed. Like, at least in broad terms. There have been things that I've tried from foreign foods that I don't like. But if I think about like Thai food, Indian food, Mexican food, African food, I've eaten all of these types of foods at restaurants that specialize in those types of foods and more. And I've never really been like, man, I'm turned off to this regional cuisine utterly. Horrible customer service, overpriced, and doesn't taste as good as it used to. Well. New York, Chicago, or LA pizza? Yes, please. I'm not one of those people, man. I don't draw a line. I like deep dish ass Chicago pizza. I like the foldable floppiness of a really good New York pizza, and I like the kind of California-inspired artichokes and white pesto sauce thing that California pizza has going on. You know, I like it all. I'm a pizza aficionado, man. Yeah, I'm against pineapple on pizza. I'm against any kind of fruit on a pizza, unless it's tomato. I think a tomato is a fruit that can be thrown on a pizza, but no pineapple, no bullshit. Pizza's for meat and cheeses and peppers and vegetables and shit. It's not for, you know, it's not for fruits. Tomato is technically a fruit, unless I'm wrong. Somebody can fucking correct me. But I'm pretty sure that a tomato fits all of the criteria for a fruit. Supreme pizzas with habaneros are really good. Yes, I like hot pizzas. My go-to pizza order is pepperoni and jalapenos. And that's what I get, man. That's my shit. Got my dog a ball that you put food in and he rolls across the floor like a cat. Snatching. Oh, yeah. Dogs love that shit. Dinor's a chewer, so he's typically got like bones and raw hides around. He loves to have something to just sit and fucking gnaw on. It's his favorite shit. Like right now, he's just like wandering around. There, go in there. He's immediately going to want to come back out here. He was like wandering around out here like he wanted to go inside, like he's cold or something. And I can guarantee you he's sitting right inside that door, waiting for me to let him out. Dinor is an inscrutable monster. Are you ready for the Big Chief? You gotta fast the day before. I don't know if I'm gonna. That's actually not a good idea if you want to eat a lot. It's a common misconception that if you're gonna go eat a giant meal on a day, that fasting the day before makes you able to put away more food. No. What you want to do is you want to eat some light meals the day before. You want to eat enough food to keep you going, so you don't feel all sick and weak and shit, and so your stomach is ready for that, so it hasn't like shrunken down. But yeah, I'm ready for the Big Chief. It's a few days, right? Only a few days away. And I'm pretty stoked about that. Is Dinor a biter as a puppy? He was indeed. I think Dinor thought that we were our hands for like, I don't know, the first year of his life. I think he thought that our sentience was in our hands, because he would never look at our faces. He would never look us in the eyes. He was always like looking at our hands and wanting to interact with our hands. So yeah, he was a little chewer as a puppy, a little biter. Always wanted to be biting and fighting. He's still that way. Like if I go like this to him, he'll be like, ah, he'll get ready. Eat a bunch of grapes the night before. The acid helps you for some reason. Okay, yeah, I'll eat all the grapes. I'll eat grapes and nothing but grapes the day before. Make you a sandwich? Nah, you make me a sandwich. I'm doing the show. You go do me a favor. You make me a motherfucking sandwich. How are you going to order me to make you a sandwich? You make me a sandwich. The Big Chief, we did a show about the worst places in America. And one of the worst places in America was a place called Glencoe in Alabama, where there is a like a little eatery called the Big Chief. It's like a local greasy spoon place that we found on Google Maps, and we're going there. We said at the time we did that show that we were going to go there one day, and that day has finally come. April 20th will be the day. It's a Saturday. We're all driving up there early in the morning so we can get there in the afternoon and just feast, maybe go to a bar afterwards. We've got some fans coming. So there's probably going to be 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 people there to chill with us. What's the worst type of pickled food? I don't know. Pickled pig's feet, probably. That's so gross. The stores where I grew up used to sell pickled pig's feet in them. Like the convenience stores and stuff. You don't see that shit altogether too often anymore, unless you're in, it's very regional. But it used to be in every store when I was a kid, man. You'd walk in there, there'd be a big old nasty jar of pickled pig feet. It's like, ugh. Ugh. Right up there on the counter where you gotta buy your shit too. Never once in my life did I ever see anybody buy a pickled pig's foot. Give me one of them pickled pig's feet. No. Never once. But they were everywhere, man. They used to sell them shits everywhere. Your ex loved a pickled pig's foot? Yeah. I mean, somebody was buying them clearly because they kept putting them out. But, man, I don't even know, man. I don't know. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could eat a big old pig knuckle. I don't think I could do it. Chew on a pig knuckle. Pigs don't even have feet. They have hooves. Yeah. Yeah, it's a pickled pig hoof. Ooh. Pickled peppers. Yeah. Dude, I got in trouble with some pickled peppers one time. When I was working, probably the worst job I ever worked. I was working at a place called CRA, Container Recycling Alliance in Madera. And that was the job I've told you guys about, where it was my job to pick garbage out of garbage, basically. It was a glass recycling thing. We get these big loads of recycling glass. It had diapers and syringes and all this metal and crap in it. And it was my job to stand on a conveyor. Now nobody does that job anywhere in the United States. There's now machines that do that job way more efficiently than a human being can. But back in them days, they would load up a big old hopper with a bunch of trash, and it would come along a conveyor belt, and it would be me and like 5 other dudes standing there just like picking trash out of it as fast as we could. And those dudes at break would bring stuff to eat sometimes, and I'd bring food. There was like a very communal food thing with the dudes that worked there. And one day I got back there to the break room, and one of the dudes had brought this big old jar of pickled peppers that looked like jalapenos, habaneros, all kinds of different peppers off in there. And all the dudes were like picking some out and eating one, and he offered it to me, you know. Like, you want one? And so I was like, I didn't want to be the only dude in there not eating one. So I was like, sure. I reached in there, grabbed a habanero, and started chewing on it. And it was delicious, but man, it lit me up bad. The whole rest of the day, I was like wiping my nose on my sleeve as I was picking garbage and shit. Why did you stop working there? Do you need an answer to that question? I just told you my job was standing on a conveyor belt picking diapers and syringes out of glass. That's why I don't work there anymore. I worked there for as long as I had to pay the bills that I needed to, and then I went and found another job immediately. Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely not a career job. Peak dread. I mean, I was young. I was like 18 or something when I worked there. So, you know, I wasn't like, if I was having to get a job like that now, that would be peak dread. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm 40, damn near 40, and I'm picking garbage out of garbage. What have I done? What have I done? What have I done? Did you ever try any of the syringes? No. You would make a good 50-year-old? Yeah, well, I guess we'll see. Maybe I got another 10 years in me, and we'll see. See if I make a good 50-year-old. I must be the oldest guy here. Maybe. Maybe so. You might be. I grew up eating sauerkraut, so I love pickled and fermented foods. Yeah. I mean, I like them too. I don't like pickles, period. Like the actual pickle, but I do like pickled foods. They are pretty good that way. What is a good 50? I don't know, man. I didn't fucking float it. Don't ask me. Ask the dude that floated it in here what a good 50-year-old is. I don't know. No pickles on burgers? Hell no. Nope, keep your pickles. I end up giving my pickles to my girlfriend pretty much every time. And Dinor's at the door whining to come out here. But yeah, I don't like pickles. I like everything else. I'll take onions, lettuce, tomato, all that good shit, but keep the pickles. My problem with pickles is that let's say you're eating a burger, right? And you got that burger stacked. You got 2 big old dill pickles slices on it. You got tomato, you got lettuce, you got all that juicy, medium rare meat. You got the bun. You got all the good stuff, right? You take a bite of it, and all you taste is pickle. You got a mouthful of pickle because the pickle overpowers everything else in the sandwich. There's no harmonious blend of flavors. There's no crispness from the onion, no acidity from the tomato, no freshness from the lettuce, no tang from the mustard, no saltiness from the ketchup, no richness from the meat. It's all you just got a mouthful of pickle. I don't want it. Keep your pickle. I want to taste that burger. I dare you to eat a jalapeno pepper now. I don't think we have any. If I have a jalapeno, I'd eat a jalapeno pepper right now. Jalapenos ain't shit. I snack on jalapenos, dude. I put, when we have them, I'll put 2 of them on the grill. Like, if I'm making myself a hot dog, I'll grill up a hot dog and 2 jalapenos at the same time. I'll throw one of them, we'll cut it up and throw it on the hot dog and eat the other one raw. I don't give a shit. Now, I'm not claiming to be some pepper badass or whatever. I know which ones to stay away from. Habaneros are one of them. Habaneros are hot enough for me. Rub one on your urethra. My urethra isn't exposed, man. Do you have like a urethra that you can rub things on? Because mine is inside of my wiener. If all you taste is pickle, the burger was garbage. Don't blame the pickle. No, I blame the pickle. I blame the pickle because I've had a bunch of really good burgers without pickles on them that if I would have thrown a pickle on it, all I would taste is a pickle. You're growing ghost peppers right now? Yeah. Ashley's got a coworker who throws, a few weeks ago we were at a big crawfish boil over at their house. They got a really nice house that's kind of backs up against a river here in the area. And that dude grows ghosts and Trinidad Moruga scorpions and chocolate boot jolokias, and he's got his whole back porch is lined with pepper plants. Crazy, super ultra hot boutique peppers. It's just nope. Yeah, he grows reapers too. I mean, I would do it under the right circumstances, but it would not be fun. How many push-ups do I have to do to turn my Rich Evans man boobs into Chris Evans man boobs? Probably 1 million. Probably have to do 1 million push-ups. Communism is still good. I don't know, ask Jabo. He's in good shape. Ask Jabo what his gym routine is. Why are you asking me? Do I look like a dude that knows how to turn flab into pecs? We make bacon wrap, cream cheese, and sausage stuffed jalapenos on the grill. They're awesome. Oh, yeah. I love stuffed jalapenos or jalapeno poppers or whatever the fuck you want to call them. They're delicious. Wish I could grow peppers, but it's too cold where I live. Yeah. Yeah. Start a fitness channel. Okay. Okay, dude. Just do another cooking stream. I want to do a cooking stream one time where I make some filet mignons for you guys, or with you guys watching. I want to get a couple of fillets. Maybe me and Ashley will get a couple of fillets. They're so expensive you can't do it all the time, but maybe next week I'll have Ashley pick up a couple of nice fillets from the butcher, and I'll show you guys how that's done. I have to get a cast iron skillet though too. I don't think we own one. Yeah, last time I did fillets, I did over at TJ's house. He's got a nice big cast iron skillet. We don't have one, so I might not be able to do that right away, because I wouldn't even touch a fucking fillet without a cast iron skillet. Favorite dictator? I don't know. Idi Amin. Just had to pick one. I went with Edie. Good old Edie. Idi Amin Dada. That reminds me, there's a PUBG branded pan that you can't cook with. It's fucking stupid. What? They made like an esports pan that... What? I don't even care. Would you drop LSD on stream? I've done streams on LSD. I've done several. What do you think of the Valve Index? If you don't know about it, look into it. I will, because I don't. Did we know? Some of them, if you were watching, you knew, and some of them you didn't. Idi Amin literally named himself Conqueror of the British Empire. That'd be badass. Yeah. Have you ever played the drums? No, I don't. I have not. I do not. Andrew, my friends are doctors. Yang. Oh. Is that a fruit roll-up stream, kayfabe or real? Either way, that was quite the performance. That was real. Yeah, I don't kayfabe doing drugs. If I'm on drugs, I'm on drugs. The Index is Valve's new headset. The link to the podcast I sent is made by a guy who covers Valve. Okay, cool. You like jazz? I do. I'm a big jazz buff. I want to know what drug you done, Paul's ego. Me too. Do you think aliens who come to Earth will enslave us or just kill us? I mean, why are those the only two options? Do you like Phil Collins? It's all been a pack of lies. Doom, 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 doom. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord. When I look at you, all I have to do is take a look at you, then I'm not so blue. Yeah, dude. Phil Collins is he's awesome, man. Listen to Invisible Touch, dude. Listen to Genesis. Listen to any of the stuff he did with Genesis. All right, Dynor. All right. All right. All right. Get out here. Always such a whiny ass. He's a whiny. Yeah, chew your bone and shut up. You like Huey Lewis and the News? I've seen Huey Lewis and the News 4 times. They are probably my favorite 80s band. I recognize that they're probably not the best band that ever lived, but I fucking love Huey Lewis. I saw him for the first time at the Mid-State Fair in California in Paso Robles, and I want to say it was 1986. My little sister and I and my mom all loved Huey Lewis, and we made a big banner that said "We love you, Huey," and he pointed at us, and he let me and my little sister dance up towards the front of the stage to Heart of Rock and Roll. That was the closest I ever came to getting to meet Huey. But I've seen him 3 times other than that. The most recently was probably about 6 or 7 or 8 years ago. And I'd go see him again right now if he was playing. Did he invite me to his ranch? No. I didn't know Huey had a ranch. Your grandma got hit on by Fats Domino? Cool. I look more like a Eugene than a Paul. Damn. Yeah. Paul Allen. Hi, it's Paul Allen. Had to get out of here to Europe for a few days. Arrivederci, babe. What you find, buddy? What you got? It's like one of your chewies blew off the porch. It's down on the grass. Whoa. Yeah, chat does devolve really quickly. Sorry. Had to go make sure my ship was on course, and it is. The ship is on course. Thoughts on the next Avengers movie? I don't care. I'll go see it, and that's that. I can't get excited about movies anymore, man. I can't. I mean, very seldom. Like the Dune movie that's coming up, I'm excited about. It might suck, but I don't think it's gonna. Have you heard of Datura drug? No. I want to be past it, yeah. I'm ready for the next phase, and I honestly think the next phase is horror, which makes me so excited, because it means the next 10 years of my life are going to be filled with great horror movies, and that's pretty awesome. I think that horror is ascendant right now. It has been for a few years. We've been seeing a lot of these smaller, like, Blumhouse production companies kind of springing up and creating these really interesting movies that people can't stop talking about. It seems like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon are all dipping their toes into these kind of horror movies and series. So I think that the time is ripe for horror to be America's favorite genre again. It's been since the 80s, since that was the case. I would say the mid to late 80s were probably the peak of American horror in the last, well, in my lifetime for sure, but probably the peak of American horror in the last 50 or 60 years. And it looks like we're due again. How do you see yourself in 10 years? Dead.
Dead in the ground, stinking and festering in the earth.
Off topic, but do you still listen to Ween? Yes, I do. I want to see you on Joe Rogan. I saw TJ's interaction. I think it would be interesting. Okay, well, call Joe Rogan and tell him to call me and put me on his show. Till then, nothing I can do about that. I mean, there's the chance. You see the caliber of guests that Joe gets. The chances of me being amongst that caliber of guests is pretty low. There's not a very good chance that I'll ever get to do something like Joe Rogan. How do you define what a human is? I don't. How do you? I'm just saying it would be interesting. It would be. I'd have fun. I think it'd be a fun conversation. I like his style of just like sitting back and, you know, maybe getting stoned and just talking and allowing the conversation to develop as it does. I like that about Joe Rogan. I think you and Joe should do DMT. All right, I'll do it. Let him know. Let him know I'll do it right there on the show with him. I'll go visit the aliens right there on the show. What do you think Star Wars would be like if Michael Bay directed it? Unintelligible, filled with even more ridiculously over-the-top CGI than it is. Pretty much the same movie now that we're getting. I think that maybe Michael Bay is ghost directing these films. 2 hours of Joe and Paul with just spacing out would be dope. Yeah, it'd be fun. Michael Bay, ha 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 ha. Probably get motion sickness from the sheer amount of shaky cam. Yeah. Maybe you already spoke on this, but thoughts on the new Joker trailer? Looks good. I'll go see it. Or see it when it comes out on VOD or whatever. Eventually I'll see it. It looks interesting. I like the take from what it looks like in the trailer of a Joker that's more humanized. I really thought it was interesting how his portrayal really rang autism bells in my head very profoundly. And I think it's interesting to see the Joker portrayed as a profoundly socially inadept person who finally just breaks. Said you were done with comic book movies. Said I was done with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But in general, yes, I am done with comic book movies. I know you're not excited about it, but it would be cool to see you guys do another analysis of the new Avengers movie like you did with Infinity War. I mean, the reason why our analysis for Infinity War was fun for so many people is because we liked the movie so much. Like, all of us had so much to say and so much we wanted to talk about the film, that we were all practically like busting at the seams to do it. And if this next movie is that type of movie, then, you know, yeah, I think it would be a good one for us to do. But if it's not, if it's disappointing or shitty or, you know, one of these kind of like, it gets about 60% to the movie that preceded it type of movies, then, you know. I really dug The Watchmen more than any other comic book fodder. I mean, I like The Watchmen too. I don't think it's the best of the superhero movies that's been made in the modern era, but it was okay. I mean, I don't know. There were parts about The Watchmen that I really didn't like. I found some of the characters to be incredibly tedious, like Falcon Boy or Owl Man or whatever his name is, and the chick. I really hated them as a central pair of characters. So Owlman and the Scarlet Spectre or whatever she was. I liked I liked some of the ancillary characters in it. I liked Dr. Manhattan's arc. I think it could have probably been the central arc in the film, because it was way more interesting than any of the other, weird little relationships. I loved the comedian and thought that he was really ridiculously buried in that film. I wanted to see more of him in action. Wasn't really all that keen on the villain either, Ozymandias. I don't know. He felt very on the nose as a villain. Like he's got an Arctic base and he wants to blow up the world. Just felt very like, oh, this is the villain? A guy that has an Arctic snow base that wants to blow up the world? Oh, okay. Fair enough. Whatever you say. I think that there were, like, Timberdoodle, I won't say it was boring, but I think that there were parts of The Watchmen that were tedious and borderline boring. Yes. I will agree with you there. Grossest soda? Also a soda that I've seen or had once but never saw again. I don't know if I'll be able to do the second part of that, but grossest soda? Man, for me, it would be like probably like any of the off-brand sodas that aren't just a cola or a Sprite. The off-brand, like Sam's Club brand of diet colas are okay. They're not as good as a Coke or even a Pepsi, but they're okay. They're passable. Same thing with like the Sprites, but if it's like a Mountain Dew replacement or a Dr. Pepper replacement or like any of those fruity kind of soda replacements, run for the hills. They are gross, man. I mean, to be honest with you, the off-brand of the sodas are really, they're not great anyway, but off-brand root beer, yeah. Off-brand root beer can be okay, you're right. You're usually pretty safe with a cola or something like that. I like sarsaparilla. I got into sarsaparilla when I was a kid because I went on this like field trip, which is something that kids don't get to do anymore, up to this old logging camp in the California mountains, like where they used to pan for gold and shit. And there was this little saloon there where we all got to go, and they gave us each a sarsaparilla. Sarsaparilla is fucking delicious, man. Ever since then, if I ever see a place that's got a sarsaparilla, I always get it. What about Dr. B, Paul? That shit good? Dr. B? I don't know. I don't know if I have had Dr. B, dude. Kids still go on field trips. Not in the school district that I worked at for 8 years. They didn't. Which incidentally was also the school district I grew up in. Sunset Sarsaparilla. Yeah, the one that I was always able to get around town where I'm from was Sioux City Sarsaparilla, which seems to be a pretty popular one. I think it's actually mentioned in The Big Lebowski. It's the type of sarsaparilla that the narrator orders, and it's a good one. I went on 2 field trips in 12 years of public education. Yeah, I used to go every year on some big field trip. Pretty much all the way through 6th grade, and even 7th and 8th grade we went on a couple of field trips. And that was pretty much a yearly thing. So every year, and some of them were more memorable than others. You know, the coolest one I ever did, I've talked about on here before, was when I got to live on a ship for a week. Like an old wooden ship called the Balclutha that's docked in San Francisco's harbor. And we got to live there, and they treated us like sailors and stuff, and we had to eat on the boat and live on the boat and poop on the boat and, you know, all of that shit. Yeah, I mean, it just becomes it in a lot of the poorer districts. When it comes to when money troubles pop up, there are two areas that get slashed almost immediately. The first is extracurriculars, so like field trips, and the second is the arts. If the school has a little arts program, if it has a little theater program or a little choir or a little band or something, they are the first thing to get defunded. So that kind of sucks. But I was lucky to, I guess, live at a time where that sort of thing was still funded, at least in my area. Because I'd be a different fucking person sitting in front of you right now if I hadn't bumped into theater in high school. You know, you want to talk about, like, some people say that they didn't really run into anything life-changing in high school. They had a boring high school career. They hated high school because it was just shit. But for me, that was life-changing, an absolutely life-changing period of my life. If I had not somehow soft landed in the drama program my freshman year, I would not be sitting here talking to you guys right now. I'd be a totally different person. My high school band had the same crusty uniforms for more than 2 decades. Damn. This might be off topic, but why are people so disciplined when it comes to things that are bad for them? Disciplined. Yeah, you got a point. Yeah, people that are truly like into something that's bad for them usually know how to do it right. I don't know. I don't know that I got an answer for you, Jabo. I mean, the ones that come to mind in my mind are drug addicts, obviously. And if you've ever been around a heavy drug user, they know exactly how to do all that crazy shit. Tie off their arms, you know, cut out a line or whatever. It's shit that would be totally unnatural for most of us. They know how to do that shit. They know how to ration that shit. Probably overeaters too, man. I'm good at getting food at any time of day or night. I'm good at making something unhealthy. I'm efficient at that shit. I guess it is what it is, man. My high school had no money and few extracurriculars, so I joined the debate team and otherwise stayed in the library for most of my education. It turned me into a dorky nerd, yeah. And it's such a developmental time in people's lives, too. That high school era, you know? Or at least it should be. You know, high school is about trying on the shoes of an adult. You know, you're putting on those, you're getting your first taste of maybe something that you want to do for a living in high school. At least for me, that's what it was. I think that high school falls down on that now. Because it's something that they actually care about, and as such, they pay more attention to the activity. Yeah. Isn't that funny how human beings work? We have different interests and aptitudes, and when those aptitudes are engaged, we're capable of great things. Startling things. My high school got in a drama program in my senior year, and I immediately joined it. I was so stoked to be able to be a part of a decently big production by the school standards, yeah. My school was weird, man. I grew up in this little cow town, shitty little farming place where the schools weren't all that great, but the high school that I went to had an absolutely enormous and really, really well-respected theater program. It was just like this little jewel in the middle of the farm land nothingness, you know what I mean? Where we had this teacher, she was amazing. She still teaches there. I mean, you know, I'm almost fucking 40, and she was my high school teacher, and she's still doing it. I saw on Facebook today, she posted that she has made yet another trip to rent out an Audrey 2 because they're doing another another performance. You know, it's been like I think 8 or 10 years since they've done Little Shop, so they rented all of the puppets for Audrey 2, the big puppet that eats people, the little hand puppet that Seymour uses when he's carrying the pot around, and they're doing that again. And I'm just like, man, what a fucking treasure that woman is. That lady is 100% like one of the only pieces of culture in that area. And she is, there are so many kids that, you know, have benefited from her wisdom and her knowledge, even if they didn't go into theater arts or something. She's just really good. And we were a badass team, man. When I was in high school, our little fucking group, we shook up the like California theater competition scene. You know, here, let me put my brag pants on, dude. There was this Shakespeare competition, and I'm trying to remember where it took place. I know it was in Los Angeles. It was it was actually a national theater competition, but it was mostly California schools that showed up. And we went for the first time my freshman year and basically swept it. We won, one of the guys from our school won best monologue, we won best two-person scene, and we won best, you know, scene overall, where, you know, you do a multi-person scene. We won that competition just like that, with all of these art schools, like all of these crazy art schools of like, you know, like really well-funded private schools in the Bay Area and in LA. I mean, you can imagine how many theater-based and acting-based schools there are in California for rich kids. Every last one of them would come to this competition, and we shut them all down. Every last one of them. We won. We swept it my freshman year, my sophomore year, and my junior year. We would have swept it my senior year, but they actually changed the rules. This was a long-standing theater competition that had been going on for 40 or 50 years or something. And they, upon our third or fourth win in a row, they changed the rules so that the school that won last year, if they returned the next year, they had to do a command performance or a champion's performance, but they weren't allowed to compete in the overall scene competition. We could still win best monologue and continued to. Best two-person scene. But the big competition where you'd have 15 or 20 kids doing a 10 or 15, 20-minute scene from Shakespeare, they were like, you can't win that anymore. You have to wait a year. You got to skip it every other year. And it's still that way. What did you play? The first time I was in it, the first year I went, I wasn't in the main scene. I was a freshman, and so I did a monologue, and I didn't place. It was my first time doing Shakespeare. The second year that I went, we did a big scene from Twelfth Night, and I played Sir Toby Belch. It was the scene where Malvolio comes down and chastises them for partying late into the night, and they send him off packing, and they hatch the plot to plant the note and, you know, get the whole play there, or the whole little joke of the play. So we did that, and we won with that one. The next year that I did it, I was in the scene as well, and I played Caliban in a scene from The Tempest, which is also my favorite Shakespearean role ever. I loved playing Caliban. So, and we won with that one as well. And then the next year, of course, we weren't allowed to compete. So your talent really shows in Dungeons and Drunken Dragons. Well, yeah, I use a lot of the improvisational stuff I learned back then and in Dank D&D. I've never really, well, I guess that's not true. I have done stand-up before, I guess. I mean, kind of informal, but I've done stand-up, like what basically amounts to stand-up sets at, I think, 3 of the 4 meetups that we've done. I've done like a 15, 20-minute stand-up set where I tell a long story or whatever it is. So I guess I have tried it, but I wouldn't say that I've done it professionally or anything. What was your champion's performance for your senior at that competition? We didn't do it. in protest. Like we didn't even show up with a show that year. Like we competed in everything else and swept everything else, and we kept our show to ourselves. So yeah, we didn't. It was just silly. We felt it was insulting. It was like, wait a minute, we're better than all these other people, but we can't win because we won last year. And all these little rich kids want their trophy. It's like, if they want their trophy, let them be better than us. What's the biggest lie you've ever had to tell your parents? That I was going to college when I wasn't. Man, that was the biggest lie I probably ever told. Probably the most consequential lie of my life was telling my parents that I was still in college when I wasn't. Because it basically was the catalyst for my life turning into what it turned into. You know, it was at the time where I was pretending to go to college, I had a deal with my parents that, you know, I could stay at home as long as I was in school. I didn't have to work or pay rent as long as I was in school. And I took advantage of that. I still was working a part-time job and stuff, but yeah, basically a whole semester I pretended to go to college and didn't. I would leave early in the morning because I know my dad would get up, and he knew that I had classes, you know, spread out through the morning and afternoon, so he would expect me to be getting ready and leaving at the same time for work, or that he was leaving for work. And so what I would do is, I had this friend of mine that had her own pad. She had some roommates and stuff in Fresno, and she had classes, but they were all night classes and shit. And during the day, she was usually just home chilling out and smoking weed. So I would get up in the morning at like 8 or 9, so my dad would see me leaving. I would drive all the way to Fresno in my car and drive to that chick's house, sit there, smoke with her, and come home sometime in the afternoon or evening. What course were you allegedly doing then? I don't remember. I don't remember exactly what I was supposedly doing. I had actually signed up for the classes and stuff. I remember my dad and stepmom had helped me do that. And I'd gone. I didn't just like completely ghost the whole thing. I'd gone for a couple of weeks, but it was just like every other time I went to college. Like, it took me about 2 weeks to realize that I was going to be sitting through a ton of shit that not only didn't interest me, but a lot of it was remedial for me. I remember for sure that I was taking an English 1A class, that when I went in there, I felt like I was in 4th grade again. It was just absurd, the type of shit that they were making us do. Journal entries and little short paragraphs, checking for grammar and stuff. And I was just like, what am I, fucking 10? And the rest of it, like the math, I was horrible at, so I just felt confused and lost. I'm sure I had at least one math course. I don't know. It just felt like I was wasting my time. How was the lie found out? My dad got suspicious towards the end of the semester, and called down to the school to ask about my grades, and they said that I was no longer enrolled, that I had dropped due to non-attendance. And then, when I came home, he asked me how school was that day. And I was like, oh, it was fine, yeah, I just got done, I just got, you know, whatever. Oh, yeah? What kind of work they got you doing in those classes? And I just fucking sat there and spun lies for like half an hour before he told me, oh, by the way, I called down to the school and it says you haven't been there for fucking like 4 months. I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, I was in trouble. That turned into a screaming mad fit. That also turned into me running away from home. I was 17 at the time. I hadn't quite pushed over to 18 yet. So I ran away from home, went and stayed with a friend for a while. Did you get the belt? Nah, I was too old for the belt. My old man stopped giving me the belt when I was like 12 or 13, when I got big enough that like he probably could not have won a fight against me directly. The belt stopped around that age. Was that the last time you were home with your parents? I moved back in for about a month. So I ran away and I stayed with friends and I couch surfed for about 2 or 3 weeks, worried the shit out of my mom, and then popped back up on the scene, or they eventually found out where I was staying or something and got a hold of me. I came home. My parents, who were divorced, both met with me and gave me this ultimatum, like, you cannot stay with either of us. You've got two choices. You can either get a job and go back to school, in which case you can continue living, but there are going to be rules. There are going to be checkups on your grades. We're going to want to sign off on your homework and have detailed talks with you about what you're doing in school. Or you can get a job and move out of the house. You have 1 month to decide. So I did some serious thinking about it. I had a friend, my friend Rodney from Apple Nasty, had moved to Arizona directly after high school. He went to a trade school there, and he was always calling me like once a week, talking about how, like, dude, you don't even have to go to school. There are great jobs everywhere down here, man. You got to move down. I got an apartment. You can stay, you can crash on my couch or whatever. And so that's the route I decided to go. And that was like a life-changing decision. So I moved out of my house. I was 18, going on 19 at the time when I left. Packed up what meager belongings that I had. It was mostly just books and, some bags of clothes and stuff. And my dad drove me to Arizona. It was a 9.5-hour drive, I think, to Phoenix, Arizona. And basically dropped me off on the front porch of my friend's house and said, see ya. And that was the last time I lived with my parents. So, that's a cleaner exit than a lot of people get. A lot of people just get kicked the fuck out with no, at least my parents helped me get where I was going. But at that point, it was sayonara. But at that point too, my stubbornness kicked in, because I found out later, and it was like a year and a half, almost 2 years later, my mom broke down on the phone with me. I'm still living in Arizona, and she tells me, like, Peaches, we didn't even think you were going to last a month or two down there. We just wanted to teach you a lesson. We thought you were going to call us and beg to come home and that you'd have a new thing, and now it's been 2 years. And I was like, sorry, Mom, I'm doing fine. I got my own apartment. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I'm not interested. My bad, but oops. My man Peach is doing his own thing. Yeah. I mean, I'd gotten a taste, dude. I didn't mean it to be savage, but I'd gotten a taste of what the limited freedom of adulthood can give you, and I couldn't even imagine going back and living with my parents, man. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't live by somebody else's rules and have somebody telling me when I gotta. I mean, I guess I do have somebody still tell me when to clean up and shit, but it's the connotation is different. Trust me. Trust me, the connotation is different. Ashley asking me to do the dishes is a little different than, Mom forcing you to do the dishes. But yeah, that was years ago. That was, like I said, I was 19, so it's been it's been 20 years. 20 years I've been on my own. 20 years I've lived on my own and paid my own bills, paid my own way through life. I never asked anybody for a handout. It's going okay, but that was I think that was probably the best thing my parents ever did for me, because I was just one of those people for whom college was just not the thing to do. And them booting me out of the house and putting me in a situation where it was like, man, I'm living on my friend's couch. I got to get a job. Because we got to get out of this 1-bedroom apartment and get into a 2-bedroom apartment. And that really was the impetus. When I first got down there, I was depressed as fuck. My friend Rodney didn't force anything on me. I literally lived on his couch, just, feeling bad for myself for 3 or 4 or 5 days. I just didn't move. I just laid there, all my shit, still in the 3 or 4 boxes that I'd brought. Just a blanket thrown over me on his couch. He'd make like 1 meal a day and offer me some of it, and sometimes I'd eat it. But I was just like, depressed. And then finally, I looked around one day and I was like, dude, I can't fucking live on this dude's couch for the rest of my fucking life and eat his chorizo and eggs. I gotta get a job. So I just hit the streets. Went and got a job immediately. It was a good job too. Lost that job when I got laid off when the company went belly up, and went to Starbucks and never looked back. I worked that job for 8 years. Ended up moving back to California on that job and continuing to live. So yeah. Aside from YouTube, what was your favorite job? Probably Starbucks, honestly. I talk that place up a lot, man. When people are like looking for a job, when I got a friend or an associate or one of you guys comes to me and is like, man, where should I work? I always say Starbucks. I mean, that was a shit job. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to tell you that it's like a cush job or like a whole lot of fun or anything, but there was something about it that made the day go by quick. It was so busy, and it was so like once you got into the mode of knowing exactly where everything is and how to do everything, it's like you go in to work an 8-hour shift that you're dreading, and like what feels like 4 hours later, they're like, clock out, time to go home, and you're like, what? Oh shit, I did 8.5, 9 hours today. Okay. You agree with Jim Carrey's philosophy? I don't even really know what Jim Carrey's philosophy is succinctly. So if he could, if you can find a good synopsis of it, then I'll read it and tell you. But from what I've heard, Jim Carrey's got a quite strange philosophy that I don't think I really fully grasp. Is it weird you still live with your parents at 23? No. And let me tell you why it's not. Because you're not alone. Because that is increasingly common these days for people to live at home with their parents until their 30s and shit. How'd you get the name Peaches? When I was little, like little, 5, 6, 7, my mom put me in a gymnastics class, which was just like tumbling for toddlers or whatever. We'd do the balance beam. We would do somersaults and all of that crap. And the lady that ran it, she started calling me Peach because PJ was my nickname. So she started calling me Peach, and then that just turned into Peaches. I don't know how it did, but she came up with that. She came up with the whole Peaches thing, and then it stuck, and now my mom calls me that, my stepdad, my dad has been known to call me that, so... Why did you not work at a movie theater, given how much you love movies? I applied. I mean, when I was a teenager, every kid wanted to work at the movie theater, so it was not exactly a job that was easy to get. I applied at movie theaters. I just never got a call back from one. The closest I came to that was when I was a teenager. I worked at Blockbuster for about a year. That was, that came with its perks, too, because you got, like, I think it was 2 or 3 free rentals a week. So you could just kind of... take a movie out, take it home, watch it a few times, bring it back, get another one. You were just never without a movie. So that was neat. Oh yeah, Blockbuster training video about upselling. Yeah. Upselling was a big thing. You never wanted anybody to just come in and get movies. Because if you remember, Blockbusters had that whole like candy setup that was just like the movie theaters. They had popcorn you could take home and pop. They had all this boutique stuff, movie posters and keychains and merch from the popular movies that were out, and you were supposed to try and get people to buy every little piece of that along with their movies. What do you think about this constant push for selling and buying things online? I'm 100% for it, man. I'm 100% for it. I think it's great, honestly, especially with companies like Amazon, where they make enough money to where you can order something and they have this return policy of like 100% refund pretty much on anything. So you can get something and go like, I don't like this, send it back. I mean, it costs you nothing. Yeah, I mean, it frees up real estate for businesses that are actually useful, or for businesses to be torn down and replaced with public spaces or public utilities. It's a win-win all the way around. All the way around. It's a shame, like, there are certain aspects of, like, the actual shopping experience that I kind of miss, but it's really just for nostalgia reasons, not for like, you know, reasons of convenience or selection. Because it's like, I miss going to Blockbuster. I miss walking into the video store and having that selection and having to pick out what you feel is the perfect movie or the perfect game to rent. But the truth of the matter is that I've got Amazon Prime, and I've got probably 10 or 20 or 30 or 40,000 more movies to choose from conservatively than I would walking into any video store I was ever in. The selection is immediate. If there are tons of them that if I start watching it and it sucks, I'm not stuck with that as my choice. I don't have to finish it. I can just stop the movie and pick something else. You know, so on every metric, the way that we deliver that type of entertainment to the masses now is better than it ever has been. I don't know why you would ever advocate for a return to brick and mortar video stores. It just doesn't make sense. And I think that's true of pretty much all kinds of consumer products now. I'm trying to think of something that I feel like I'd really want to go to the store and like try out before I buy it. You know, keeping in mind that I could probably get it from Amazon, and if I get it and it sucks, I just send it back. I can't think of anything. Clothes? No. I haven't bought clothes from a store. I don't know how long. I order clothes. I get them online. If I get them and they don't fit me the way I like, I package them back up and I send them back, and I get a smaller size or a bigger size. Do you like malls? I used to. I used to chill at malls when I was a teenager and stuff. I mean, that was a pretty popular place for kids to go on the weekends when you were bored. Just go chill at the mall, have an Orange Julius, and run around and get in trouble. Nowadays, I'd rather not go to a mall. I'd rather not go anywhere to shop, honestly. Best thing about malls, the Chinese food. Yeah, I like the food court food in general in malls. It ain't great, but I don't know. I just like it. It's all junk food. It's all pretty decent. You know, it is kind of fun to walk around the mall and just kind of window shop and shit. You know, I remember having fun as a kid, just looking at all the crazy stuff, going into Spencer's Gifts and looking at all the crazy gag gifts and shit that they got off in there, you know. I don't like sushi at all. I worked at a movie theater for 5 to 6 months as a cook because it was a dine-in. It was kind of fun. Yeah, we got a dine-in movie theater right across from us. Or not across, like right down the road from us here. I'd never seen one of those before in my life, by the way. So I didn't realize that those types of places were a thing till I moved down here. But yeah, movie theaters where you can get like a whole meal. You can get like a hamburger and fries and a milkshake and mozzarella sticks, and it's like, okay. It's kind of cool though. You can have them bring it to you during your movie too. Yeah. Clothing stores really do mark up a lot. I went to Van Heusen to get some nice fitted shirts, and wow, yeah, oh yeah. I mean, clothes are expensive. Dumb Louisiana hick. Whatever, bro. Whatever, broski. There's a drive-in theater near you. It has good food and it's really comfy. Yeah. I love drive-ins. That's another thing that, like, I wish there was one around here. The weather here is so bad that I don't think they could do a drive-in, but back home there's one that runs in the summer. There's a little place in Pismo that I love going to called the Sunset Drive-In. But yeah, I love a drive-in movie. That's a great experience. We used to sneak our friends in because they charge you per head. So if you show up with a carload of 4 friends, they're going to charge you for each one of them. But we used to just put 2 people in the front and then 2 people curled up in the trunk, you know, and we'd get in there and let it rip. What do you think about brain interfacing? Yeah, yeah. I don't know a whole lot about it. I know it's a frontier and whatever, but I don't know anything about it. Um, can you tell me the story of how Gurgi made TJ crash? I never got the first full story. No. Uh, we just recently talked about Gurgi on Deep Fat Fried or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he came up again. The voice came out. Yeah, no thanks. Not gonna do it. Pass. You know, I used to think when I started streaming that I would never get annoyed by people because I appreciate whoever supports me, but sometimes I can't help it. Is that bad? Nah, dude. You see how I interact with people here. I mean, people appreciate realness, because it's so like rare these days to run into somebody that's not doing the, hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Paul Zigo, here again for another show. Snippity snap, flippity flap. You know, like I maybe not everybody appreciates realness, but I'm telling you, like the audience that I want to fucking get appreciates realness. And if these people annoy you in the chat and shit, I mean, you having to swallow that over and over, it's just gonna come out, Jabo. I mean, like if you're anything like me, you know, you swallow all that hatred day after day after day, and one of these days you're just gonna pipe off. You might as well just pipe off early when it's not as brutal. You know what I mean? And just pipe up at them early. That's what I do. Somebody says something stupid in here, I call them stupid. I might ban them, but it's, you know, they'd get a lot worse if I had to swallow their bullshit for 2 or 3 days in a row. I think we need to take the avalanching of TJ to the next level. No, you don't understand, man. It's a slow burn, buddy. Slow burn. What do you think of Google Stadia? I think if it does what they say it does, that it's basically what we were talking about with Blockbuster being replaced by Amazon. It's basically that for video games. Like Stadia is going to be like, if it does, I have a friend that played, I think it was called Google Play or something. Trying to remember the name of it. They did like a limited beta test of it a while back, and I've got a friend that was actually in it. And he told me that he was able to fire up an old laptop, a shitty laptop, on a pretty bad 10.1 fucking, or like a 10.1 connection, and play whatever the latest Assassin's Creed that had just released at full settings in 1080p, relatively uninterrupted. He said there were a couple little moments of stuttering, but it was so few and far between, he was shocked. So if that's the case, if that's what they deliver as a product, then it changes the whole gaming landscape. You no longer even have to have a console. You don't have to have a computer. Yeah, streaming games is definitely the next frontier. And I don't know if it'll be Stadia. Like, if they can deliver on the shit that they're saying they can deliver on, then I'm stoked for it. I'm ready. Fuck this owning 9 different consoles and shit. Like, I'm ready to move to a unified platform where I can play whatever game I want, whenever I want, from whatever screen I want. And that's really what Stadia is. Like, I was watching a video where they played Assassin's Creed on a phone. Like, they got one of those little, joystick attachments for the phone, and we're sitting there and playing 1080p Assassin's Creed on their phone. It's just like, how is that not the future? How is like, being able to just plop your iPad down and play whatever game you want wherever you are not the future? What's my body count? 0 so far. I've got 0 confirmed kills. Yeah, it's going to be dope. It may not, I think the thing that's fighting against Stadia right now is our infrastructure. I think it's something that's almost completely out of the hands of Google, which is our shitty 30, 40, 50 years behind the rest of the developed world internet infrastructure is going to hold that back, if nothing else. I love the concept, but I do worry about Google picking and choosing what games they allow. Perhaps it's always going to be a stretch, right? Some of these game companies are going to jump at licensing themselves for this because they're going to get a piece of, you know, that Stadia subscription. And there are going to be some game companies that are like, absolutely not. You're not putting our games on Stadia. Are you kidding? We're starting our own Stadia. I mean, it's just like any of this other crap. You know, it was like when Steam came out and became a huge platform. A lot of these companies were like, yeah, dude, this is great. Get our games in front of more people. But a lot of these companies were like, Steam? Let's start our own Steam that only has our games on it. That's where we're still kind of in that era now. And you'll see that with this too, you know. But eventually, I think at the end of the day, what we're moving towards is an entertainment sphere where you can watch whatever you want, where you can listen to whatever you want, where you can play whatever video game you want, whenever you want, from whatever screen you own. That's what we're moving towards. And that's a bright day. That's a day to look forward to. I probably won't live to see it, but some of you youngins, you'll live to see the Disneyverse. You'll live to see Disney conglomerate all these streaming platforms under Disney Plus. I've gotten bored with movies, music, and games lately, and I have access to pretty much anything what gives. I mean, there is a certain there's an aspect of that. It's called an abundance of choice, an overabundance of choice, right? Because I go through it too. When I think we talked about this recently, but I'll go through it briefly. Like, go back to the Blockbuster thing. When I used to go to Blockbuster, there's what? How many movies in a Blockbuster? 2,000? Out of those 2,000 movies, I never left a Blockbuster with no movie. Never. I can sit down in front of Amazon Prime and literally for 3 hours scroll through movies and not decide on it. You know what I mean? I mean, that might be a little exaggeration. I don't know that I've ever sat for 3 hours looking for a film, but you get my drift. It's almost like that, the fact that our options aren't limited just slightly makes it harder to choose, because now you know you have everything. You know, and when you're talking about movies, you're talking about millions of films at your fingertips. From what I understand, you are not your body, your mind, and your personality doesn't exist. The only thing that's really you is pure consciousness. Well, isn't consciousness part of the mind as it exists, though? I mean, consciousness is based on, like, it's reliant on all of those other systems, your body, your personality. I don't know that I can agree with that, bro. There can be no consciousness without the systems that support it. There was something sacred about renting a movie. It was like a shared totem. Now it's all one big figurative pile of unintimate trash, maybe. I'm giving you money to tell you I'm eating pizza. Don't at me for a slice. Tucker, you can't be like that, dude. You can't. That's rude to have pizza and not share a slice with everybody here. We need 330 slices of pizza from you, Tucker, right now. I know we're in dystopia light at the moment, but I'm not comfortable calling it a full-on dystopia till the food and water shortages hit. I hope we get... Well, see, the whole thing about a dystopia, though, is that food and water shortages really can't be a part of it. That's a collapse, right? A dystopia is a society that functions on some level as a society, but in a way that's contrary to the freedoms and happiness of the people that live within it. If you take that definition of dystopia, which is a broad definition, I'll give you that, I think we're living in one. I don't really think it's debatable. Yeah, I mean, the food and water shortages, that can't be a dystopia. That's a collapsing society. That's a non-functioning society. A dystopia has to make sure that there's enough bread in every mouth, or at least reasonably so. You know, people have to have some avenue in a dystopia. It just can't be a fulfilling one. And if we're not there now, I'm open to arguments. Do you like Nipsey Hussle? I did, yeah. I actually just started to get into Nipsey Hussle, which is a shame. But, yeah. I dig some Nipsey. Weed dystopia. There's no such thing. By the way, are there people who can tag someone in the chat using some sort of app, or are you using the browser? Because I can't do it. I don't know. I don't know how that works, man. That's your realm, not mine. I just think we're in the beginning. Yeah, I mean, it's just like most of the people in Brave New World or 1984 didn't think that they were living in a dystopia. You know what I mean? Those books aren't filled with people who are like constantly tortured with the knowledge. There might be one or two people in the novel that know that the system doesn't work, but keep in mind, in those novels, most of society was going along with it. Most of society seemed blissfully unaware that they were living in a horrible corporate dystopia. Once again, the parallels are shocking because that's what we're living in now. We're living in a time where most people aren't even aware how bad things are. Is the dystopia a slow burn or a quick change? It's a slow burn, obviously. I mean, it can't just, like, this whole fantasy of all of a sudden the government is going to crack down and become authoritarian and suspend habeas corpus and suspend the Bill of Rights and declare martial law. That's a fantasy. That already happened. See, what's easier? Doing that at once and causing your entire society to revolt against you, or doing it over the course of 20 and 30 years? I think you know the answer to that. Everything that I mentioned there, the suspension of habeas corpus, the suspension of your basic rights as enumerated in the Bill of Rights, all of those things have happened, just not all at once. Just very slowly and surely it was eroded away. Very slowly they take one and then they put it back for a minute and then they take it later when you're not looking. And here we are. Yeah, we still have access to habeas corpus, but we've also seen that the government can suspend habeas corpus, as they did with the trials and detentions of so-called enemy combatants after 9/11. You can suspend habeas corpus by labeling somebody a terrorist, or an enemy of the state. Then you can send them to a military tribunal where, you know, the normal rules of jurisprudence don't apply. The totalitarian tiptoe. Do you think civil liberties will be even more restricted when mass unemployment from? Oh, absolutely. The trajectory is clear. Less privacy, less freedom of expression and association, less protection under the law. That's the trajectory. I don't see any reason why it would flip around now. We have a Ministry of Peace, the Defense Department, and a Ministry of Truth, National Security Agency. Yeah. You can find parallels in a lot, especially in 1984. That novel was so prescient. And Orwell himself, if you listen to him speaking about that novel and its implications, was so absolutely fucking prescient. So yeah, you can find crazy analogs, not only to 1984, but to Huxley's Brave New World. Brave New World is probably my favorite dystopian novel. That book is, I mean, it is laden with, I mean, it basically called the mass medication of humanity. Soma, the happy drug. Opinions on the Julian Assange situation. I mean, nothing I would call a new opinion. I think it's ridiculous that someone has been living in the fucking Ecuadorian embassy for like 3 years to avoid prosecution for a fucking... I mean, I understand he's facing other charges and shit, but if you think that those charges are the reason why Julian Assange has been hounded to the ends of the earth, you're wrong. I think it's absolutely fucking obvious that the real reason why Julian Assange is the most wanted man in the Western world is because he revealed secrets about the inner workings of the government that the government didn't want people to know? He isn't a journalist, he is a spy. Well, I don't care then. See, you're not going to convince me that giving the populace information about what its government is doing in its name secretly is a bad thing. So if he's a spy, he's a spy. Yes, I am. Some information should be remained secret. Like what? And who decides it? Who decides what information is too dangerous for you to read? Who oversees the people that hide that information to make sure it's being hidden for actual national security reasons and not just because shit's going on that they don't want people to know about? Who takes care of that?